you ever do the thing where you rip the controller out of someone else's hand because they were beating you so badly?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that happened when you were like a kid, and then usually that ended up with fights, and that's kind of like that was the end of that. Never in the adult life. But I mean, the thing is, I think that when it comes to games, I think it kind of goes to what Phil was saying. Mario Party is unique because Phil, when you're losing, you're still having fun. Like, everyone's always laughing even as they're losing, because when you get hosed in that game, you really get hosed. And so you can't help but laugh at how hard you're getting bent over, right? Like, Phil, I'm in first place. We got 5 turns to go. Someone hits a chance time block, right? And then you move your stars and coins to somebody who has nothing, right? You just went from first to last in one turn. You're like, what? And then all of a sudden weird stuff starts happening and you fucking lose. And it's like this is unbelievable.
All right.
It's something of a fun game, though. I mean,
it's hilarious.
We would start flicking soda at each other and stuff.
Yeah. People start, they fucking with each other. If someone's trying to concentrate, if there's an ear blow, just whatever it takes, man. It brings back those times, man.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 83 of the Migtown podcast. The only weekly source of the show that features perturbed garden tools. As usual, I'm producer Tim. Joining me is the mayor of Migtown, Drexel. Say hi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to life post Roe v. Wade reversal. So it's quite
the hoes are so mad.
Oh yeah, hoes, man. I wish I had hoes in here.
I have a. Damn it! I don't actually have the actual hoe. See, in Canada, we call a hoe also a metal garden rake.
Really?
We call that a hoe too.
No, we just call them hoes. I remember in the house party, when she's like, "And why did you call his mother a garden tool?" They look at each other like, because when you deal with like old people, they didn't know that hoe meant also hose, not the garden tool to sit there. And so yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
God, that was a great movie.
But also joining us in the studio today, gone for far too long, as always, the host Phil.
Hola.
I think Phil was actually around, 3 episodes ago? But still, too far, too long. You can't go too long without your daily
down. And I mean, Phil, who are the lovely ladies you've got in the background? Because that's going to go into what we're talking about with modern relationships and the future of relationships.
This one here.
Yeah, who's that?
Very popular model, the WM 166 centimeter C cup with head 273. So I affectionately named her Francesca.
I like that name.
And the other one is an older popular model, the 155 centimeter large breast, but it's got the 172 head, which is an elf head.
Now, when it comes to elf heads, do you have any peculiar kind of degenerate buyers who may be into green-skinned creatures, who may be interested, who may or may not be in the chat?
It's getting more popular, actually. I'm seeing more and more requests for green-skinned dolls. There's the odd blue-skinned one, which is cropped up, but that was mainly because of the film Avatar.
Oh yeah. Do you think you're going to see more of that when the new sequel comes out?
Probably.
Possibly. I mean, we've got manufacturers now that are going down the whole sort of furry but not furry route. They're going for that whole half animal, half human kind of look, but there's no actual excess fur. It's still a silicone doll. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's kind of unusual. But I think that's more exclusively for the anime crowd. They're starting to get into that.
Mm-hmm. Make sure you screw the heads on tight, Phil.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't want it to just roll off mid-stroke.
But, I mean, if you do, you always finish.
Of course.
I mean, you look... Oh, you covered her, but... she had some... You said it was the large-breasted doll, and that was not an understatement. Holy jeez, those things are big.
Oh, yeah, she's very chesty. Now, Phil, this brings us to, as you're the first guest in this part 2, Phil, we've talked about this in the Discord chat about the biggest factor of why guys are starting to just check out, right? Obviously we know about the disrespect from society, right? And the views and the perception of how men are in in movies and television, blah blah blah, right? We know about that. But this is focused on relationships, and Phil, let me ask you this: what do you think is the biggest factor when it comes to guys going the automation route as like one of your lovely dolls? Do you think it is more of the headache, which is like the day-to-day female drama, right? Do you think it's the courts, all the things that women can get you into with legal issues, right? Or this is a big one, especially now. Do you think it's financial as to why a guy would rather a doll than a real life woman?
It depends to whom you're asking. Back in the day when dolls were a lot more of a niche demographic amongst men, they were generally divorcees. They'd been put through the sort of like divorce wrangler, and they were just like, nope, not doing that again. Can't afford to do that twice. Mm-hmm. So they started the ball rolling, as it were. Then I think for say middle-aged to younger men, you probably got guys who did the whole PUA thing, and then you can't help but notice what a lot of female nature is like when you're in and out of women all the time. And I think they got disillusioned after a while. So I keep on seeing these guys who've been like pickup artists for 10 years, and then all of a sudden they just kind of check out. Either they find God or they do something a bit more philosophical with their lives. And then you've got the onset, which is a lot more younger, of what I call like kind of the incel generation. Mm-hmm. Where if you're not built like you, Drex, it's much more difficult for these guys to actually get a crack at the whip, so to speak. And they're all just like, well, I tried. And you can only try so long before you just lose all steam and just say, screw it. So in terms of pushing guys towards dolls, they seem to hold off. They'll do no fap for ages until they break. Mm-hmm. And then I think they realize that I do have needs. Maybe this doll thing isn't so degenerate after all. Mm-hmm. And so they try that. Now, the only other thing that's been putting the spanner in the works for all of that, for all of the ages, is the fact that people are starting to see a lot of dolls online, social media, people talking about them, even in the news and stuff like that. So that's making it's normalizing it a lot more for a lot more people than would perhaps have thought it to be completely degenerate and beneath them 20 years ago.
Well, it's funny you say that you talk about I believe that we are into you said the incel generation. I think it's kind of like I guess to piggyback on that, I think it's kind of like the black pill generation, because it's like you have one set of guys who are basically saying, "Oh man, there's nothing but peace leave out here, man. I'm just smash and dash," right? You hear the pump and dump guys, right? And like you said, Phil, there's a growing divide. If you aren't that dude, right? If you aren't Mr. Pump and Dump, the only thing you can really be now is the incel, because I mean, obviously, we can always, you just pay for it, right? But if you aren't basically, the Chad Tyrone dude, you are kind of getting pushed more and more into that whole, because Phil, we talked about this off camera. One of the major issues is the fact that, from all documents and studies, young men are having less sex now than at any point in recorded history. Guys are getting no action, right? We haven't seen this before. This is uncharted territory. And
also, Dick brought in a study into the recent Dick show. Births are way down too.
Oh, yeah, way down.
Now, Drex, what started 2 years ago that would start impacting this kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, once men and women weren't able to physically, meet the way they used to, Phil, I've talked about this. They're the only place really left for men and women to interact and try to hook up and try to make anything happen, realistically, right, is the gym. You see what I'm saying? Because, okay, watch this. The workplace is off limits for most guys now, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Me Too and feminism ruined the workplace, right? That's over. Okay, cross that off. Okay, clubs right? There's no more club, right?
Yeah,
Because
they don't exist.
clubs are done. Okay, Phil, bars. Me Too and feminism ruined. Phil, we talk about this. A lot of guys, I'm sure, especially like in your dad's generation, would be able to say, like, hey, yeah, I made, they could have met their wife at a bar because bars weren't thought grounds back in the day. You see what I'm saying? They were a social environment, right? Like women went with their female friends, men went with their male friends, just like dance clubs were not thought grounds. You see what I'm saying? It was like you went to try, that was where men and women got together to socialize. And if you guys connected, you started talking, and that person was like, hey, well, I'm off the market now, so I'm going to kind of go with you, right? We'll start going out together. Phil, now, like you said, with this whole like incel thing going and in the lack of sex, my thing is this: when it comes to the sexlessness, right, and then the men and women having this growing divide, do you think that, like, as we look at relationships now, do you think that's going to push men more toward, like I said, just checking out? Because it goes to what you said earlier. You said that the social stigma is not as attached to the doll like it used to be, right? Like you'd have been shamed, I would say even 10 years ago, right? 2012, if you'd have said, yeah, man, I got a doll, people might have looked at you sideways, right? Oh, this guy's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm only going back 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he was an old boy he's bought a few dolls from me. I've mentioned it before. He's married, but his wife sleeps in a separate bedroom, that kind of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually saying, because he was very, very well thought of in his hometown. And he said, if people ever found out like that we were friends and we were like spending time like together in each other's company type of thing, I should think I would have to kill myself. But he's one of those old guys. Now that kind of attitude is dying out, where perhaps somebody younger might say, oh, I might have to move if somebody found out what I was doing with dolls. Whereas now everyone's a bit more like, well, shit to be you if you're having a problem with me having dolls. Everyone seems to be a bit more laissez-faire about the whole thing. I mean, as to whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know, because who was I speaking to? I think it might have been an ear for men. And I was mentioning that, like, in a perfect world, there's no need for my business.
I agree. Here's the thing, Phil, let's focus on that for a second. In a perfect world, there's a lot of things that wouldn't exist, right? Watch this. In a perfect world, no need for dolls, right? In a perfect world, no need for PUAs, right? Because you would need a PUA. Because I'll tell you what PUA is. PUA represents a dating/mating strategy, right? To basically counteract women's unchecked hypergamy. That's what PUA really is, right? Because remember, Phil, your average guy in the year 1965 had a chance, right? Because there was no internet. She didn't have all these options. So she met a guy that, in her high school, whatever. They talked, they got along. Maybe he wasn't the best looking guy. He wasn't the tallest guy. He wasn't super jacked, but he was a decent dude, right? A decent dude had a chance in 1965. You see what I'm saying? So there was no need for a PUA in 1965.
But well, even after then, I mean, I remember being at school, and you would either have like the quiet kid or the goth kid or something like that. Even in time, granted, it was usually after everyone else had found themselves girlfriends, they still managed to eventually find someone.
Yep.
And it just wasn't that unusual. It was just a case of, well, he'll get around to it when he gets around to it. Whereas now, it's like I've had conversations with generally younger guys. Nothing wrong with them. They're intellectually adept, they're socially adept, quite reasonable looking. They've got means and stuff. So that's like all of the building blocks that would normally cement you a relationship back in the day. But now it's like you need that special secret sauce or something like that to win.
Yeah, that's the reason why I think your business is such a reflection of a society that has really fallen due to the divide between men and women. Because let's face it, Phil, like you said, in that ideal society, right? Men and women would be together. There would be a much smaller government, because then people would say, hey, well, I don't need all this extra stuff in my life because it's me, it's my wife, it's our children. Here's our family. We do our thing. We have a community. Everything is good, right? But as you're saying, as people become more disconnected, the irony to that is that like the shame starts to dissipate also, right? because, like you said, the older generation is where the shame comes from the dolls. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And then if you notice, as guys get younger, because we're becoming more disconnected, that whole stigma doesn't really hang over a man's head. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You know, because I mean, think about it, Phil. If I'm 25, right? What can someone say to a 25-year-old who, think about it, he may not have that many friends. He's in an online community. Everyone's in some form of an online community now, right? We're a global network now, right? So if you do shame him publicly or shame him like within your own social circle, he has a million online people he can always go talk to vent or to kind of get some kind of a crystal clear thought in his head about, like, basically saying to validate his decision to get the doll route. You see what I'm saying? Whereas before he didn't have that. Like back in the day, if you would have snuck and had a doll and someone found out, like you said, you would be ostracized. Whereas the sexlessness in marriages, Phil, you know, I think this is important because you and I talked before we got on the show about the sex strike. Roe v. Wade happens, right? And now we're hearing about a sex strike. Phil, do you think a sex strike, like you and I both know it won't happen, right? 304s or 304s. Let's just say it happens.
They can't restrain themselves.
They can't restrain themselves. No.
I mean,
once a hoe, always a hoe.
I think I saw something in the news where, like, all of these, it was in America, all these women sort of screaming and hollering about, like, Roe versus Wade. And then they all just start twerking as though this is going to mean anything. They're just like, it's a vulgar display of sexuality for no reason.
Yep.
And that's kind of, because you were mentioning about shame before, that there's been some level of shames which has restricted men's debauchery and stuff like that. But there's absolutely zero shame amongst women now, and they are just like unleashed on the world. So there's nothing too low for them. Yep. And it was women's shaming of each other that used to keep them in check. I mean, there would be a little bit of shame maybe coming from men, but nowhere near to the same degree. But now that
women's shame is what kept them in check. Absolutely. Phil, a lot of people don't know this. Slut shaming was not a male tactic. That was a female tactic.
Yeah.
Women slut shame. Like, so they project that onto men, and yet here we are, Phil. Sex strike. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, right? We're doing a weird, you know, this is about relationships. Bam, Phil, there's a sex strike. Okay, women, you know, they cut off the peace leave, right? No more sex. Okay, Phil, guys start going to get your dolls. Tell us what happens next. As these guys who got cut out of sex from women, they got dolls. Tell us what happens next on a societal scale.
Oh, well, I mean, it would just be sending society just kind of off a precipice or a cliff edge or something like that, because the men are going to be, it's effectively the same as what they were used to before. She isn't actually paying any attention to him. He can actually find some solace in the doll, or at least it takes the edge off. Mm-hmm. So then he can kind of go about his life without any sort of like sexual tension all the time. And then he'll just, almost like he'll take the red pill. He'll go like full Migtown and say, well, fuck it, why go back?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no more babies, and then one generation we all die out.
Well, we're getting there now. You know what I'm saying? Based on what country you live in, I'm sure you've been seeing some of these birth rates, Phil. They're dipping below 1. You know, some of these countries now, for those people who don't know, man, this is the reason why this relationship episode is important, because like I said, it just depends on what side of the fence you're on. You know, if you're a traditional conservative side, you know, you may be seeing this one way. Someone else who's just saying burn it all down, they're more black pill, they see it another way. But the divide is real. It's not going to change. So the question is, as we're here now, Phil, right? We look at this growing rift. Where do you see that going with modern relationships?
I'm not too sure. Well, because there's a number of different ways. It depends if there's like a big break in society. Mm-hmm. Because women are yearning for at least some level of companionship with men. And so, like, why are there no men around anymore? Because they're spending all their time with these top 20% guys, or top 10% guys probably now, who, as you say, are just pumping and dumping. And they're starting to yearn for like what their grandparents had, for like a real relationship. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they've got what it takes to actually make that break. And I suppose I come around to some level of civility and morality. So I could, it might sound a bit black pilled, but I could just see it getting worse, to be honest. I don't see a great solution. I mean, especially when we've got, as you mentioned, we've got the Roe versus Wade, then we've got the sex strike. Combine that with the fact then we've got collapsing birth rates. It's like, so I know women, you're not thinking about this, but like our birth rates are in the shitter, and you want to be able to wantonly kill babies just because you think it's your body, your choice kind of thing, and it empowers you somehow for doing this. None of this works out well. I mean, the guys had, like, I think had seen this like 10 years ago, and they realized at that point, it's not much we can do if women are just allowed to run rampant through society doing anything that they please. So they'll just sit there and wait. Well, we'll wait and see if the women actually change. But I don't see that happening, not without great impetus anyway.
No, well, women are incapable of change. The only time they do change is, okay, like I said, like a cataclysmic event has to happen, right? Because like war is cataclysmic, right? Because that now it's hard to talk about gender pay gap when you're being bombed, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not normal human behavior. Like, you're not going to sit there and have a slut walk when you're stacking bodies. You see what I'm saying? So unless there's something cataclysmic, that won't change. However, you know, Phil, this is one of the things I want to ask you about, and we'll get you out of here. What do you think about the balance between common law relationships, right, and the doll? Because, okay, now you and I have talked about this. I remember when you said your last, I guess you say, relationship before you just checked out. You were talking about how, like, you know, the bullshit, right? You were in Rome, I believe. You're in Italy, and you just talk about like the bullshit. Every guy has like the last straw, because let's be honest, Phil, it was building to that, right? You didn't just decide overnight, done. It was like things were building, and you tried this tactic, that tactic, this, and then you sat back. I'm sure that after you got back from Italy, you probably like really thought about it. You're like, I don't need any of this, right? Like you're just done. You're like, I'm just good, right?
Yeah, it was kind of the idea. I know we were only there like for a day or two. It was going to be a very short trip, but the whole point was to, you know, just enjoy some of the sights and smells and food of Rome. And I felt as though we weren't there on holiday. She's running around trying to get all of these photographs, but other people that she can show off to. And I'm like, well, there's no point in having a day's break if it's actually more work than actually being at work. But then she just couldn't see that at all, because it's just, I'll be able to show all of my friends what a wonderful time that we had. But we didn't, did we?
Nope.
And she couldn't see that with me. And then as you said, it culminates into like a crescendo of just general stupid shit going on all the time. You just start to think, this would be a lot easier if I just...
It's why I checked out. I got tired of the bullshit. But like in the thing about common law, though, Phil. Now I'm sure I don't think does UK have common law marriage? Like if a man and woman are cohabitating for X amount of time, because she starts saying like, well, we were basically married, so I'm entitled to, you know. Do they do that in the UK?
I think they do.
I mean, we do,
but
I don't think it's quite as easy for it to be kicked in as in the US. But there's like slightly different ways they go about it.
Okay. Well, the reason why I say that is that, okay, watch this. If a guy says, Phil, the courts are so stacked against me. Okay, that's not working. Well, Phil, but I still like a woman, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, you know, me and my girl, you know, we're making this work. You know, we're really, you know, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. We're living under the same roof, right? But then all of a sudden,
unicorn.
Well, that train of thought actually is not bad until you start to deal with, like you said, like Phil's talking about, the day-to-day bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's when the doll starts becoming a legitimate option, I believe, Phil, because if a man is cohabitating with a woman, right, and he's still dealing with all this drama and BS, he's got to be looking over his shoulder like, wait a minute, and she can take my shit, right?
Well, what it does, say for like your average guy who's dealing with crap, or the woman, what he's having to balance the fact that the woman is essentially a sexual object to him, but then he's having to do a lot of social things at the same time, social niceties. Whereas when you get the doll, you realize, no, she was just a sexual object, but I treated her much better than just a sexual object. And especially the way women are treating themselves these days, hence that twerking thing I was mentioning. But the only thing that they capitalize on is their own sexuality. And then so you're going to have all the sex that you want as many times as you want at the time of day that you want, and it never complains. It's hard to go back to real women after that.
Yeah.
I mean, for all of my platonic relationships with women who like sort of run in and out of the circles of my life, I get on really well with them, but that's because there's no sexual tension or anything like that. And
Correct.
you just can't be bothered with any of that sexual tension and fuckery that goes with it. It's like when it starts, I had some girl online. She jumped onto the website chat and she's starting to come on really hot and heavy with me. I've never even met the girl, but like now that, you know, I've got these, it's just like, just calm that shit right down. I've got better things to do than deal with all of that. So you just don't tolerate it.
Just
Yeah, fuckery could ensue.
yes.
You know, Phil, any last words on the relationships that we're in now and headed toward in the future, and how automation is going to affect that?
Well, automation is certainly going to move into the sexual realm to a point where man and woman might only get together for social reasons.
Are you saying like platonic reasons, like men and women come together for? I can't. Here's the thing, Phil. Without the sexual component, I don't really know what. Like I said, most men and women, right? We're not talking about all, but most men and women, they don't really have much to really do if you remove the sexual component, right?
Yeah.
Take that away, and it's like, what are they meeting for, right? Because guys have guy interests, women tend to have women interests, right? So the guys can be like, so why am I here then, right? Because most men don't want to be around a bunch of cackling hens. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to play out. And yeah, Phil, I definitely want to be able to check back in with you to see how this thing unfolds as sex strike unfolds, as the hot girl summer unfolds, and all of that.
Well, we'll have to see how the incels react to all of this, because sex strike's not going to mean anything.
Not a damn thing.
Nope. And of course, these are the guys who are like kind of cucking hard in that they want to be patted on the head and being told that they're loved by this woman. Whereas like all of your PUS and stuff like that are all, I suppose, like guys like me now that I've got dolls and stuff, like this whole idea of you love me, yeah, great, whatever, don't care.
We appreciate it, babe. Dollhouse Phil, that is your take on modern relationships and the future. We appreciate you coming by, man.
No problem. Always good to be here.
Peace out. That is our main man, Dollhouse Phil. And next up, we got our main man, the degenerate himself, the legendary Koopa, the Goblin Trooper.
How's it going?
Koopa, this is a great time because, as you know, Dollhouse Phil is going to help segue right into you, the same way you segue inside of the holes of these fucking dolls.
Yeah, buddy.
So now, Koopa, this is crazy, man. You have to talk about relationships, right? Because one thing that I've learned over time is that, like, especially with men, this can happen with anyone too, with women also, but it's like men can have a quote unquote relationship even with inanimate objects.
Oh yeah,
so give us like the diaries of a doll owner, right? Versus kind of get like take us into it, because some people go, oh, that's crazy, even though let's face it, there are people out there, as you know, who are satisfied with just like having their dog, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm cool with my dog, or they help animals or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it can be their car is like their woman, right? A lot of guys will refer to their car as their woman. So give us an insight into the relationship that a doll owner like yourself has with the doll.
For me in particular, it started off basically the same that it started off with Phil. I just looked at her as a way to take care of some much needed business, as so to say.
I like this.
It started off that way. I remember you guys even asked if I actually slept with her. It's like, no. It's like for the first, I guess, 2 weeks, I would, once I'm done relieving the stress, put her back in the box, lay down on my bed, went to bed, and then got ready for work. It wasn't until like the second week that I actually did start to like have the goblin next to me in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, this is a little awkward at first. I didn't think much of it until I had a family member come over, and I'm not gonna let any family member see this shit. This is on a need to know basis. So I put her back in her box, put her away, and I had a guest bed rolled out for my family member. Next thing you know, I'm like, I'm laying down, and I'm like, something's missing. Something feels wrong. It didn't hit me until the family member left and I made up for lost time, that I was like, huh, there is just that satisfaction of having the feminine form sleeping right next to you. That just makes sleeping a lot better. From there, it's just started to upgrade from there. I started buying her outfits. I gotta get her a new wig because got a little rough with the last one.
Uh-oh.
Fucking got him.
Oh shit! Someone sent me a little video of it's a porn clip that's 8 seconds. It's a dude smashing a chick from behind, right?
She rips
and then
away
he pulls her hair, and it's a black chick, right? And the damn fucking weave falls off, and he goes and he wears the weave and keeps smashing. So he literally pulls it off, starts laughing, puts it on, still laughing, and keeps going. Doesn't even like stop.
How does he manage to keep going?
I don't know how he was able to keep a straight face.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like
the chick was so embarrassed because she's wearing her little basically a little let's say hair holder or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And she has that on, and she's like covering her face, like almost half buried in the pillow because she's so embarrassed. And it's funny because your goblin can never get embarrassed. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like if you dress the doll up, there's never a time of pushback. And Coop, I want to ask you, what do you think about pushback?
In terms of what way? Like,
well, because so it's something that you don't have to deal with, right? Because you always hear guys talk about it, right? I'm sure whether it be your friends, your brothers, someone in your life has talked about basically the nagging, the bitching, the pushback, right?
Yes.
It's always something
that side of humans. Yes.
So what is it like to not have to deal with that ever?
Liberating. Not having to deal with it. Like when you want to get your rocks off, and you don't get the pushback, you're just like, all right, I'm ready. You ready? And in your head, you can picture her just saying yes, and it's like, all right, let's do this. Today we're gonna do upside down helicopter man hanging from a chandelier. And by the time you're done, you're like, all right, what do I do now? Oh, time to get back to work, or time to go hit the gym. Like you don't have to wake up and get in the words of the Patrice O'Neill joke, you don't wake up and you get, so where is this going?
Yep. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I want to ask you this. What about your male family members, right? Family, friends, whoever, who are married or in a long-term relationship? What is it that they have said to you that makes you view your relationship with the goblin different?
They say this particular phrase in jest, but I swear there's some truth behind it. When they would get nagged by my sister-in-laws, I would and they would just get so annoyed, and I could see like the annoyed, I am just getting really frustrated with this human next to me, and they'll just look at me and say, "Don't get married, dude." I'm looking at them, and my sister-in-laws think it's a joke. Part of me is looking at them like, this is advice right here. This isn't a joke.
Yeah, I believe they're being truthful. Like I said, they always talk about in terms of comedy, right? When we say things, right? Whether we're the only times that human beings are actually honest is in a suicide note, on their deathbed, or when they're drunk, right? That's like when humans are at their most honest. You know what I'm saying? So when he's being nagged to death, this is a form of comedy, right? Because people tell the truth in comedy. I believe that he's saying that not in jest. I believe he's actually being serious. Like
that's what I'm thinking.
Don't suffer my fate.
That's what I'm thinking. Like if 2 out of 3 of them are saying that exact same thing. The last one, I don't know what's going on in his head. He's the one that is basically still trying to shame me for being a solo man. Technically solo man, if you really want to put it that way. But if 2 out of 3, actually no, now it's 3 out of 4 that are giving me this don't get married, dude. Plus other people that I've met that are like, yeah, you don't want to do that. I'm thinking, you know what? I think I'm good. I think I'm good because it's not like I've been going through goblins all my life. I have had relationship with human women, and it's
It's
not
horrible.
something. It's not something I'd want to do again.
It's horrible. Yeah, I won't do it again for obvious reasons. It's literally just misery. And Koopa, I've made it analogous. I'm sure Manic has heard guys talk about this. I would argue that a man who thinks about past relationships is the equivalent of PTSD, right? Like he gets flashbacks of being nagged to death, flashbacks of the bitching, flashbacks of the accusations, the shit tests, the fuck shit, she getting crazy for no reason. We have this to do. Let's go. I don't want to do shit. Just don't talk to me. Just go away.
I think the shit tests alone are just like the worst flashbacks from them being like from them giving you the if a guy started hitting on me,
yeah,
I
don't got time for that.
Would you say? It's like no, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah, I don't have time for shit tests. And when women say, "Oh, no, I promise, I'm not going to do that," all women shit tests, right? Now, Koopa, it's funny you talked about the shame that comes from, I believe it was your brother or somebody or a family member.
Yeah,
I want to ask you this question: when
Sure.
it comes to relationships and dealing with shame, what is your perception of yourself in the world versus the box that they used to put men in, right? Because think about it, the shame. The reason why you're getting shame for not being, married, with following the traditional path, right?
Yeah, it's
very sacrificial.
It's sacrificial. And what annoys me is like they keep telling me, you got to get married and all this, and it's like my brother loves using this one. It's like, oh, you don't want to die a virgin, do you? It's like, well, I'm happy. My wallet keeps stacking green.
Mm-hmm.
I can keep getting more assets. Heck, I can do whatever the heck I want when I want. I'm not tied behind by, and I'm not delegated to a man cave. My entire home is my man cave.
Yep.
Wherever I go, whether it be the bathroom, my bedroom, everything is my man cave. I want to decorate it with some dumb thing or some dumb toy, I can do that.
With no pushback.
There's no pushback. Now, will I ever tell my family about the goblin? No, they still don't need to know. It's on a need to know basis. I don't give a crap. Now, at some point, and I expect this at any point in time in the future, is they're going to try to start playing matchmaker. They're going to be like, oh, you need to meet. It's coming.
They're going to all be single moms or ran through thoughts. There's no one else on the dating market.
Yeah. And the thing is like, I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be the funniest time of my life for this sole reason. I've already got the goblin and I'm basically going to have permanent post-nut clarity. So when I'm talking to this human being, I'm going to be very, very straightforward and upfront. What do you have to offer me? And if she says companionship, I've got a dog and I've got friends. What else? Tangible. Give me something worth even considering this.
You do know they have nothing, right?
And they have nothing. And if they say sex, I'm like, oh, okay. Will you give it to me at least twice a day? In the morning when you see me with morning wood, I wake up with you, taking care of that? Or is that
tell me that you never have an off day?
Or
literally ever. Like you don't get an off day. You don't get a period or anything. No. Period equals you have two other holes or you bring a friend, right? Because I have needs.
Yeah, it's like I have needs.
Yep.
At the end of the day,
you don't get an off day for provision and protection, right? Like you don't get to say, well, I'm on my period, so for the next X amount of days, I'm not gonna pay a bill, take you out to dinner, or nothing, right? You don't get to say that.
Exactly. And they if they're gonna offer the whole wifely duties, it's like, well, first off, you better fucking cook better than me, because I had to teach myself to cook, and you know what? I'm getting there. I'm gonna learn more recipes soon. I'm gonna figure out everything from there. In terms of time, I'm not gonna waste any time on dates. Like, you want to date?
Oh, it's stupid. Yeah, whatever you do, yeah, don't date. I tell guys that it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of energy. Now, I got to ask you this though. You talked earlier about stacking green. What do you think about the very nature of male disposability versus, as you said, by having this type of relationship, you get to build more, right? Build more wealth, assets. You get to more time, right? What do you think about having more disposable income because you aren't in a relationship with a woman where you are just literally viewed as a disposable wallet.
It feels great. Like anything, like, so a lot of my old GameCube stuff essentially disappeared. A lot of my games,
Oh,
and I used to have a Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition that had 2 Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Zelda 1 and 2, and the demo for Wind Waker.
mhm.
Because of this disposable income, I didn't care how much it cost me. It actually cost me almost $200 to get it because retro games are getting really expensive for some
They are.
reason.
Yep.
But I found it mint condition copy, and I'm looking at it right now, going, you know what? I'm glad to have this back in my life because this gives me a nostalgic feeling. It gives me memories, and I get to revive a console that was my very first console once
Mhm.
again. The disposable income will allow you to make those kinds of decisions, to get collector's editions of your favorite medium, to be able to build your own computer if you wanted to build an expensive computer. You could do whatever you want with the extra disposable income. You want to take a martial arts class? Yeah, the extra income will allow me to be able to take the class no matter the cost. Do I want to take a boxing class? That too. Go hiking? That too. Take a trip on an airplane. Well, I'm probably not going to do that right now, considering the stories I've heard from you. But if I wanted to, I could just buy a plane ticket, go to like wherever the heck in the United States, because I still can't go overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you say that, and the crazy thing is how much money you save, right? That's something that it's like a Migtown staple. I'm sure Manic, it's something you've talked about with guys, I'm sure in school. Have any of you guys, Manic, ever talked about the fact that by not having a girl, these guys just have like more money?
Yeah, and also seem to have a lot more free time.
Yeah, they have time. Like, hey, Manic, you want to play some games, bro? When you don't have anyone nagging about I want time, because this is something that people don't understand. Manic, let me ask you a serious question in this regard. Have you ever met a woman who has genuine hobbies and interests?
I've seen a lot of women that have a high snap score.
Oh yeah, of course, right. but you're noticing though, right? And the reason why I say this is because if you want a man to enter a relationship, right? A man wants to know that the woman has other interests outside of him, so that, think about it, you should enjoy your time with the other person, right? We all enjoy each other a lot more when we're not around each other all the time, right?
Yeah.
Well, that a lot of these modern women, they literally have no life, bro. I don't know if you know this, Manic, but most chicks, they either go to school and or work and just come home and watch TV. That's literally the extent of their entire life.
Yeah, it's RPM talked about it when he had an episode with his ex. He basically said when he went camping with the family, with the kids, they were having a good time. All of a sudden, as he was sitting down, she just decides to start bringing up, what was it? Work.
Yep.
And he lost it. He was like, damn, do you have anything in your life but
Nothing.
work?
Nothing. That's the reason why when Coach Greg Adams does that clip of Busy Phillips, so I can focus on my career. That's why. The women who bury themselves in work is because they have something. Because remember, what used to take up their time and energy was the family, right? They abandoned that. Yeah, so now they have the career, and of course that leaves them empty. So of course they start drinking, smoking, and getting raw dogged, right? They have
cats,
to.
And getting cats when they
and getting cats. They don't have a choice. So I mean, and let me ask you this though. So Manic, when it comes to the doll life that got more and more guys are living, what do you see as the future relationships in regards to, do you see more guys? Because you and Cooper are closer in age than a guy like me who's going to turn 40. What do you see, Manic, as do you think more guys are going to go the doll route?
Yeah, probably.
Or do you think they're just going to start going like no girl at all, or hiring a streetwalker?
Dude, I genuinely would not know, because most guys would probably just kind of long for the perfect woman, the unicorn.
Any chance I get, I immediately start shilling for Dollhouse Phil. Any chance I get. Anytime I interact with people my age or younger,
Well, that's the
And-
unicorn.
And I'm telling him, well, you don't want to get with a possible future Karen, do you? Yeah. Well, why don't you have a little bit of post nut clarity here? Here's this
Oh,
option.
you don't even want to see what happened to a particular somebody who showed up looking 150 pounds bigger, fam.
Oh,
No, dude, it's no fucking joke, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's something that Koopa, a guy like you, would never fear, because you don't have to. Your girl is going to be the same every day, forever, right? Forever young. So, and you can always replace her, and there's not even gonna be bitching when she gets replaced, if that's what you choose to do.
No, she's her sister will be coming soon.
Yeah. Now, Koopa, I want to ask you this, and this is what we'll get you out of here with. Let's just say, because this is all about relationships, I want you to pretend you're the woman. Now you are competing against the doll. Tell me what you are going to do to get our man Koopa the Goblin Trooper, and you're gonna convince him that you're better than the doll. Shoot your shot.
Fuck. The only thing I can think of is I will ride you like a bucking bronco. I will every morning. You don't even have to thrust. I will do the thrusting for you. That's the only thing I can think of adding. I will probably these days these chicks can't learn how to cook. Matter of fact, there's a video, Drexel. I'm pretty sure you've seen it. There's a chick who live streamed trying to cook a steak.
Yeah.
She burnt her fucking apartment down.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that?
She spread a grease fire because she's that stupid, and she threw water on a grease fire. You smother grease. You don't throw water on grease.
Well, tell that to her. Apparently,
It
she
was
didn't
so
know that.
bad.
Oh my gosh. So
It's an embarrassment.
So I mean, if I have to play the mind of a modern woman, I don't have the cooking skills I have, so I can't really offer anything than riding you like a cowgirl on steroids.
So that's all you got.
Pretty
So
much.
you're the modern woman, and all you can offer me, or in this case, our man Koopa, is ride him like a bronco. That's it. That's all you can offer a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing I can think of. What else?
Jesus
What else can
Christ.
I add? Considering, you know what, I let me put my mind into a girl near my age. I mean, she's taken more schlong than any other person that I've known, more than likely. If this is the average girl, so the ability to pair bond is not even there. It's definitely not a virgin. So the golden V is no longer golden anymore. It's not even a diamond in the rough. It's just rough. There's no particular wife skills. There's no mother skills. There's not even an ability to even make a decent meal. These modern day chicks can't even use a microwave correctly, and that's saying something, because the microwave was supposed to make everything easier.
I know, dude, that's sad. Well, I've said there's been actual women on YouTube who've said these modern chicks came in boil water. It's that bad.
Yeah,
they literally can't do anything.
What
You'd be shocked. Like, watch this. Hey, Manic. Let's just say I told a chick to make grits, right? In order to make grits, this is literally what you do. Throw in a little bit of salt, throw in the water, boil the water, right? The water is at a boil. Slightly turn down the heat. Slowly add in the amount of desired grits, right? While stirring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you let like anything else, like you do rice or anything else, you let the shit cook down, right? While stirring, right? Occasionally, right? And eventually, man, it comes out to the exact consistency that you want, right? And then you serve. Now that sounds simple, right?
Let me write this down. I have not actually made grits before.
They can't do it. I'm not joking. If you ask a shit to make you some grits right now, bruh, you would be shocked at what you're going to end up with. Lumps.
I mean, I guess, just to be fair, I guess the only thing they could do is be your dishwasher and do the laundry, maybe. If they don't know how to do the laundry, then you might want to start smelling. You might want to start smelling anytime you interact with a chick, because you don't know if she actually did her laundry or not.
Oh yeah, man, it's rough. The thing is, though, is that, like I said, when it comes to food and all that, those are things that really keep a man. A lot of women have figured out that, if they're smart, they figured out looks alone is not going to keep a man. That gets your foot in the door. So it's funny that you have the doll, because your doll keeps the same look. So you do everything else.
She does 2 of 3 requirements, and RGE said the requirements perfectly. Feed me, fuck me, shut the fuck up. And she does 2 of the 3. No, these chicks can't do even one of them.
Oh, absolutely not. Now, Koopa, any last words you want to have out there for the guy out who is thinking about getting a doll?
Just remember, it is an option. It's always just an option. Get a starter doll, always as recommended by RPM. But if you do go that route, let it all out once you get her, because you'll have complete clarity, and then you'll finally be able to start thinking, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want with my life? And some of these guys can't answer that. So if you're going to do the doll option to completely remove that cloud that always tells you you've got to breed, I'd recommend it. Subscribe to the Migtown podcast. Subscribe to Manic the Manic Mechanic, and get a goddamn doll called Dollhouse Phil.
So true.
Our man Koopa. I mean, spoken like a true champion. Coop, we appreciate the advice. Have fun with your lovely lady, because she's never going to hit the fucking wall. She's never going to bitch and complain. She's never going to demand what all women demand. And what is that? More. Doesn't matter what you give. More. I'm sure Manic has seen that when he was in school.
Yeah,
It didn't matter what you gave them, they wanted more, man.
Before I go, like I've been through Phil's Discord. A lot of these guys are treating their dolls so like they're treating them well, and you see them like taking amazing amateur photos. You see them giving them clothes. You see them dressing them. You see them even doing home movies with them, like literally sitting them on the couch, doing stuff that guys used to do for dates for this inanimate object.
Well, that's the thing I find fascinating about the doll thing. It's not even just dolls. It's like, because men have the ability to pair bond and love something. Well, I'll give you a prime example. The number one example all of us can relate to in the movie Castaway. Remember Wilson?
Yes, Wilson.
And remember, so he was just yelling at Wilson and throws him away, and he's basically damn near having a breakdown, right, over a damn ball, right?
Yeah,
because he viewed the ball as his actual friend, even though he's just he's much like a doll. Because the thing cannot talk back, you're projecting your friendship, right? So you're having a A/B conversation with just yourself, right?
you're projecting the person you want in your life onto this inanimate object.
Yep.
It's
well, it's a beautiful thing to endure, because it like friendship in and of itself is more of to me, it's a spiritual thing. So just like a doll, just like, when people love their pets or whatever, it's like, it's spiritual. It doesn't need to be able to say hello to you in, whatever language you speak. That's just what it is. So yeah, but Coop, we appreciate you coming on. Next we'll bring in our girl J Love.
Thanks for having me on.
Always, always, always.
All right.
We'll bring in J Love because Whip is wherever.
Dude, the funny thing is, when I was a senior in high school, you could tell there was a steep difference between like the mental health between like the seniors, which already wasn't good, and then say the freshmen, which were basically all on hormones, basically.
Wait, hold on, wait. The freshmen were on hormones?
Yeah.
What hormones?
To transition.
Wait, whoa, hold on. Whoa. I gotta backtrack real quick. Hold on, let me get this straight. You're saying what percentage of these freshmen were on transition hormones?
Well, I want to say like a fifth.
So roughly 20%.
Yeah, like it might have been skewed because like I know obviously these kind of kids would be more in like say band or art or some of that field. So it might just be.
So because that would mean in a class of 500 kids, right? You would have 100 kids that would be in some form of transition, or they identify as a certain gender, non-binary.
Non-binary.
So basically a fifth.
I feel like if you include non-binary, that would be increased. Jesus. Like add 50 to it.
Jesus, man. Well, I mean, that's what they wanted, though, right? I mean, this is what they wanted. And that's the reason why J Love is so important to get the female perspective. J Love, welcome fucking back.
Hi, how is everyone?
J Love, there's been lots of fuck shit going on. I know a lot of dudes out here looking to have you peg them. They're out here trying to go ahead and be wannabe players and everything. So, J Love, first question.
Yes.
I want you to describe marriage as a woman. Because we've heard it from a man, right? From the man's perspective, like, oh, this is what you have to deal with when you have a wife. Okay, tell us what you have to deal with when you have a husband.
I mean, it's like most women, the point of getting married is so that they don't have to do this shit alone. So they have somebody to pay for their shit and make sure that they're good and have an abundance amount of money to support what they decide to do. So a lot of women, it's the stability of that is why women get married at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's strictly that. I mean, some of it can be sex, but we all know that modern day women are going out and fucking other people, and they have their husbands that aren't really fucking them, and so on and so forth. But the modern day marriage, like this marriage that we see now, is completely different than marriage 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I don't, for the most part, women will get married just for strictly stability. What am I going to get out of this? How is this going to benefit me?
Now
And
that
not
begs
have
the
to
question.
do anything.
I was just
Not
going to ask
actually,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
To not
because
actually.
well,
Go ahead.
so the main question is, it's the most obvious follow-up, because when women are out here looking for relationships, right, they're looking for something to be provided to them. Let me ask you this question. This isn't just you, but like women in general. Do women ever have the thought cross their minds of, hey, this is what I want to bring to this relationship, not what he's going to do for me, but like, do they go in? How many women do you think go in going like this? Let me make sure I treat this man well. I can't wait to cook for him, clean for him, do X, Y, and Z. How many women come in with that mentality, do you think?
I think it's a very small percent, maybe 5 to 10%. Most women I know now can't even cook. Like you guys were just talking about, they can't cook for shit.
None. They
They
can't cook
don't
literally anything.
clean, they don't do anything. They just sit over there and try to be cute and let him financially support whatever they decide to do. I know a lot of relationships where she's always traveling and he's just chilling working so she can have her trips and do her own thing. And a lot of these women don't have shit to offer, but these men are like, okay, cool. Then, it is what it is. She doesn't bother me. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. And it, I guess, works out for them.
Okay, so I got to beg the question. Why do you think these men are even doing this? Like, why do you think they're actually signing up for these kind of relationships?
I think it's societal standards. Societal standards say you should be married. Societal standards say you should be in a relationship. And it's a fear of being alone.
Aww.
I mean, just my situation over the last 2 weeks. I mean, oh boy had 4 whole ass girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like he was fucking, because that was a struggle in itself, not because he was fucking all these multiple women, but because he had a medical condition that hindered that. So it's that emotional, like I can give 10% and promise her everything, and then I can just go do and fuck whatever I want. And like as long as I send them money, then they're good.
Well, I mean, that boils down to the transactional nature of relationships. Now, I got to ask you this. One thing that we have talked about before is that in this future dating economy, do you believe what Kevin Samuels and other people have said, which is women are going to have to share high value men going forward? Like the days of you like being able to like land a high value man and it's a monogamous relationship. Do you believe that those days are over?
I do, because reality is older men are, I've watched so many podcasts and listened to so many people talk about this. High dollar value men are in their 40s.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to fuck with somebody who is a female who's in her 30s or 40s with multiple children, work, and a life that she's taking care of. They're going to go for that 20-year-old who has no children, who is a virgin, and so on and so forth. So what's going to happen is he's going to get that, but then he wants the sophistication of an older woman who has her shit together to counteract what the 21-year-old isn't doing.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, the real value of the relationship is pretty much, sister wives at the end of the day. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think this monogamous type relationship's going to last forever, because a 21-year-old woman is going to find no value in a man who's the same age as her, but
Nope.
she will find value in a man who is in his 40s and older and high dollar value. I mean, we see it all the time when you watch TV. I mean, look at Hugh Hefner. I mean, that's a prime example right there. There's a value in a younger woman. He wants, whether it's you want children. And let's be real, most men want a woman to have their children, especially if they're a high dollar man and they're in their 40s, they're going to want somebody who can give them a baby, really.
Yep.
She has more value. And since women aren't cooking, they're not cleaning, they're not handling their business in that aspect, a 21-year-old, ultimately, you can train them to what you want them to be. And they're going to give them something that's a bigger reward than that older woman ever could, because they can still have children.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Describe, you always describe marriage as a woman. Describe divorce as a woman.
I mean, there's so many wins in a divorce for a woman. She's taking half. She didn't even have to work for the shit. He worked for it, and she can ultimately take half. So most men aren't going to divorce a woman because they know they're about to lose big time. So they stay and they tolerate it, which also brings in that aspect of a relationship and multiple people.
I mean, that's obviously been the case for years. Like, guys like Will Smith, we all know why Will is staying, because he knows that, like, yeah, Jada pulls the plug, no prenup, you're screwed. Now, I want to ask you this, though. When from the female perspective, when it comes to relationships, what do you think about mate selection, right? When you were younger versus your mate selection now, if you want to be in a relationship?
For me, when I was younger, it was, obviously it was a different era. So that was 20 some years ago. It was a different era. Like, I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to do all those things. And now it's like, it's changed, because it's like, are you self-sufficient? Don't call and ask me for shit. I don't really want shit from you. Like, it's just changed completely, where I can stand on my own. I just need you to be an alpha male. And unfortunately, there's so many beta males out there that dating now is very difficult. And yeah, I mean, I have baggage. I've been divorced. I have children. I have all these other things that a 20-year-old wouldn't have. But reality is, I'm not expecting anything out of them. And I sure the fuck will never marry somebody again.
Yeah, the days of that, I believe, are long gone. Obviously, with SMV makes a huge difference, because the women out there who are getting with certain types of guys, they have certain standards, right? The standard that a woman has when she's 20 years old is basically, is the guy hot, right? Is he hot, and do we have fun together? That's literally like it, right?
Yep.
So these tragic irony, and I've told women this, the tragic irony of women is that women's standards only go up. TFM used to say hypergamy floats. So women's standards for a man only go upwards, even though their value only goes down as they get older and older, right?
Right.
And that's why, I mean, let's face it, an average looking 19-year-old girl has far more value, like you said earlier about high value men looking for women that can bear children. That 19-year-old girl has far more value than a woman who is, by definition, looks better in terms of, let's say she's in, tip-top shape or whatever. I'm trying to think of like an older woman, like let's say like Elizabeth Hurley, women who look really good for their age, right? Elizabeth Hurley looks great for her age. Jennifer Lopez, obviously with makeup and stuff, looks really good for her age. But Jennifer Lopez is like, what, 50 now? So a guy who sees like an average looking 19-year-old go, I'm checking the 19-year-old, right?
Right.
And there are people who haven't figured that out yet.
Well, and a lot of that comes from, like, let's be honest, a 19-year-old girl or a 21-year-old girl has really no life experience. A man ultimately, an alpha male can ultimately mold her into the perfect person for him, because she doesn't have that life experience to be like, nah, fuck that shit. She's going to be like, okay, if this makes him happy, let me go ahead and make this happen. There's a value in that compared to a woman who's in her 40s, kind of set in her ways, judgmental, ridicules him. He doesn't want to hear the bullshit. And then you add in, most women can't cook. Like, that's just like, we're not talking hamburger helper here. We're not talking like prepaid prepared meals. Like, we're talking cooking from scratch. Most women cannot do that now. That's kind of done and over with at this point. I would say there's a very small percentage that can cook. So what else is she going to offer him? So for him, it's just an easy training session, really, over, you know, how many years, because she's open to that. Where a woman in her 40s, like, I'm not cooking. That's it. Don't ask me any more questions. They don't want to deal with the headache of that.
Now that boils into something else. You're talking about what women can't do because men keep saying what they want and women are basically saying we're not going to. What do you think about this issue that's been going around for quite some time, which is women not even caring about what men want, right? Because you know, you've been hearing about this, thing, especially with black men. You're hearing more and more black men going overseas to find wives and stuff, right? Like, hey, I'm going to South America, I'm going to Brazil, or I'm going to Asia. You know, you're hearing this more and more, right? What do you think about the fact that women are literally saying, I hear what men are saying. They want a woman that can cook. They want this. I'm choosing not to do those things while still complaining that they can't get a man.
Well, and then they're going to be single forever because a man's not going to tolerate, like, a true man is not going to tolerate that. So then what you see is these betas coming forward and, you know, having multiple women just being on some bitch shit, and she can control his every move. And it works out for them, right? I can't knock it. But the chances of them actually getting in a long-term relationship, you're seeing more and more women in their 40s and 50 that haven't been in a relationship for years. And they talk about there's no good men out there. It's because she doesn't want to do X, Y, and Z. It's always what they can't do. It's never, okay, cool. If he texts you, like, I'll be home in 2 hours, get some lingerie and whatever, she's like, I'm too tired for that shit.
Yep.
What the fuck? Like, there has to be a happy medium in between that. I mean, I've sent you text messages. You want this? Okay, cool. And I'm in my 40s. So for me, it's like, what are you doing? But again, you have different types of women. Like, I am very independent, dominant, strong female. But when it comes to my relationships, I'm the complete polar opposite. Be a man and do your shit, and anything you want, you will get. But it's definitely not the way most women now behave. And then there's always some excuse of, I don't want to do that because of this, or I'm not doing that. I talked to my girlfriend, which is the worst move ever. Talk to my girlfriend and she thinks you're being extreme about it.
Okay, now that's leading into a whole nother issue that I think is very important, which is you talk about how women are basically declining to do things that men are asking of them, which I think leads to infidelity. And we've had you on the show before, and you talked about this. These guys aren't even getting basic needs met, like basic. Like, man, I haven't had sex, and you know, you've told me there's been men who have told you years, I haven't gotten a blowjob in years, and it's like, damn, really? But he's expected to provide every day. You see what I'm saying? He's expected to pay bills.
Well, I mean, a prime example of that is Mr. L. Lives with a girlfriend, just had a baby together. She doesn't do shit for him. So he'll hit up his side chick and be like, hey, I need this tonight. You in? She's like, okay, cool. No dramatics. Just go handle it and go back.
The thing that's important
thing for him.
Oh yeah. You had broken up there. But you know, one of the things that I find crazy about relationships is that you and I talk a lot about you know, you being a mom, and you know, the red pill wisdom that your boys have, right? Because like you said, they're growing up in a society where the women and the culture has become so degenerate and so full of fuck shit that they can't unsee it, right? Like they can't see that these bitches ain't shit. Whereas in the 90s, it was hard to see, right? Because there was no internet, there was no one twerking on TikTok, there was no women saying, oh girl, get that bag, right? Make his pockets hurt, right? There were no videos like that. So guys didn't know. Now that begs the question now. Talk about the way your boys are viewing relationships. And I think I'll let Manic jump in with that also.
Yeah, I mean, my now 16-year-old is like, I'm not going to be in a relationship. I'm just going to have hoes everywhere. I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go.
Then Manic, it's serious, man. I'm being dead serious. These boys are like, oh, fuck these bitches. Like they have no feelings out here in these streets anymore.
No, okay.
My 19-year-old is like, these hoes ain't taking my money. I will smash and keep it fucking moving. Now, my 20-year-old has a girlfriend. They've been dating now for a year. But let me tell you, this girl is 20 years old and she cooks for him. She does his laundry. She makes sure he's good. And she makes sure everything that he possibly could want is met. And in return, if she needs her gas tank filled, he's going to fill her gas tank. There's so many pros to their relationship, which is not normal. But up until he met her, he was like, fuck that shit. I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. I don't have time for the drama. I don't have time for all the extra. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic. It's actually really good that my oldest son does have a girlfriend. The other ones see it, but now they know what to look for. Mom cooks, mom cleans, mom does her laundry, mom does all this stuff. My older brother's girlfriend is doing the same exact thing, and she's 20 and mom's in her 40s. Like, there's definitely a dynamic there, but they literally don't have time for the bullshit.
It's something, man. Like, I want to ask you this: when because you're in the same age group as her sons, what is it? Are you seeing something very similar where guys are basically like, these bitches ain't shit. I'm out here smashing and dashing.
Yeah. So here's the character arc that you go through. And I wonder if any of your sons have been through this. So basically, you're standard or lean toward the nice guy, and then you date this girl, fall madly in love with her, get your heart destroyed, broken, and you're at your absolute lowest state, and then after that, you just work out aggressively and viciously, and you're just an asshole Chad, and you just don't care anymore.
Yep.
I mean, that's my 19-year-old. He's never had his heart broken, but he set up his own home gym at home. He's picked up a bunch of free shit from Facebook Marketplace, and he works out every single day. And he's like, Mom, it's crazy how many women are like coming at me. And we're not talking, I mean, what they do gutter work. So they run into a lot of high profile women or women who have money. And these women are just throwing themselves at him. And he's like, I don't understand. But my son is ripped. He's got, all my kids are they're not
they're all athletic.
to sit in the house. So they're very athletic. They're muscular. They work very hard. They actually, like, for me as a mom, like, there's nothing that makes me more proud at. One, they make more money than I do, and they're 19 and 20. Two, they've invested money because I've taught them that from the time they were young. Three, they don't have time to fuck around with the bullshit about what a woman's not going to do because they see what I do and they're like, oh, well, shit, I'm not going to fuck with this one. And they are constantly, all of them. These hoes are ratchet. They're just trying to smash. They're just trying to get us caught up to get a baby because they know we got our shit together, because most of the kids that are their age are behaving, as I call it, are behaving like toddlers. Or my kids are very much, I was very open with them from the time they were small and very like, okay, this is what you guys should be doing. And to watch it, like, it's interesting to watch my 16-year-old going through and doing these motions and saying certain things. And I'm just like, shit. Because he's just like, I just don't have time for it. And my 16-year-old's a good looking kid. Like, he's got girls everywhere and they all love him, but he's like, I'm not dating any of them.
Yeah, he's turned into a savage.
Feelings.
Yeah, he's like, of all your boys, I think he's the one that's doing it the most, because like, I think, and this is why I bring that up, is because, Manic, we talked about this, right? The younger the kid goes, right? We're talking about ages, right? As you start going down the ladder, right? As these kids get younger and younger, you're starting to see these kids adopt this ideology and this persona much earlier. Like, you're meeting kids at like 12 years old, be like, oh, these bitches ain't shit. You see what I'm saying? And that, look, I'll be honest with you, Manic. When I was 12, J-Love, you remember those days, right? In the early 90s, boys were like starstruck, right? So, but here's the thing, though. So were the girls. The girls and the boys were like, they call it puppy love, right? Like, you were all like, oh my, you were giddy. You were talking on the phone. You wanted to talk to this girl. You wanted to shoot your shit. Like, at least there was like some romance involved. All the romance is gone. It's all dating apps. It's all swiping. It's all just smash and dash. Girls in high school have body counts in the triple digits already. So dudes are just savages.
I can't tell you how many kids were at my boys' middle school and they were knocked up already. And it's interesting because I think back to like when we were young and it was puppy love. There's a unique, real, raw honesty. Hence why most people in high school from our age group ended up getting married. Like my brother just had his 20-year wedding anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was a unique dynamic, but not much longer after that, once 2000 hit, that shit changed
It was over.
completely.
Yeah, I think the turn of the millennium is what changed it. Now, I want to ask you this though, in referring to your boys, what do you think is the fate of your boys versus the fate of your daughters in regards to the options available to them?
Well, I mean, my boys, like, I honestly like the youngest one and the middle one, they're probably, if they ever get married, they're going to be in their 30s, almost for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the older one, you know, because he's been in a relationship for a year and it literally works for them. I think for them, it's a different entity. It's that old school relationship. Now, as
Mm-hmm.
far as my girls, we know my oldest is getting married in September and lowered her standards to be with this guy, and they had kids. And, you know, it's kind of like, okay, you know, it's what society says you should do. The little one, I don't know, because she is so cutthroat and has three older brothers. Like, she's not taking shit from nobody. So for her, I think it might be a little bit of a struggle relationship wise, because she's going to call him out on his bullshit if
Mm-hmm.
he tries to shoot her some bullshit, where like your daughter is in a little bit different entity because she doesn't have older brothers.
Yep.
But my little one, like, she won't wear certain things because she's like, I'm not a thought, so I'm not wearing that. Like, her brothers have really drilled that into her, so you don't have the fuck shit like the twerking and all of that. She just, you know, she's gonna do her own thing, but then also on the flip side, she, you know, will probably be very almost like me, where she's soft and whatnot. But with her, I don't really know. But my oldest one kind of fit that mold. But the boys, I don't know. It's tough to say at this point, but I just can't picture them getting married before they're 30, except for the oldest one.
Damn. Well, we'll get you out here with this question.
Do I
And
want
this
to
is
know?
this is so great. It's a question that I think you know, you've seen so much from so many angles, so I want you to go into it. What do men gain by being in a relationship with a woman in the modern day, right? You know about the, you know, from every angle, right? Sex, money, time, you know, hobbies, everything, the whole spectrum. What does the man get? Like I say, if you know, you're a woman, let's just say you're out there and you're what, you know, pretend that you're whatever age you want to be, right? You could be older, younger, whatever, right? And
Yeah.
there's the high value man. He's standing there. As a woman, right? It's like, go ahead and like sell the idea of relationship as to how this would be good for him.
Well, God, I don't even know how to answer that, because relationships for me, I just look at them that they're doomed. High valued man with a younger woman, there he gains offspring, he gains trainable girl, he gains somebody who he can get them and mold them into what he wants. Now, the older women, there's not much really. I think the only thing that a man would gain at the end of the day is having somebody there to talk with or travel with or whatever, so you're not doing it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I don't really know, because most of these people, most relationships now, they're not having sex, they're not doing foreplay, they don't cook, they go out to eat all the time. Like, there's no real dynamic, and it's hard because a lot of these older women and women in general don't really have much to offer a man, so it makes it difficult to say what's the value of a relationship.
Now, what does the man offer the woman though?
Stability.
Because remember, every guy has to work, right? Like, men don't even have the option to not work. They have to,
Right.
you know,
Right.
or they literally starve to death because there's no programs for men, right?
Right.
And this is so important because it's like, now, J Love, you think about it like this. These men are offering stability. Don't you think it's the least these bras can do is go ahead and suck that dick?
I mean, that
You
is
know what I'm
the
saying?
least they can
Make him a
do. Like,
sandwich.
for me, it's so funny. I just had this conversation a few days ago with another friend. I said, I keep getting ridiculed because you're so independent. You so this, you're so that. I'm like, well, shit. I don't want to be independent. Let me get into a relationship and he can pay half the fucking bills in the house. He'll get his dick sucked multiple times a week, get sex whenever he wants it, and have food on the table. I would love to do that. But show me a man that is going to meet that halfway. I'm going to offer X, Y, and Z. Now, what is he going to offer? And,
Mhm.
you know, a lot of times you're not getting that. These men don't know how to behave.
I know a lot of these dudes are weirdos. I mean, a lot of them are on the down low. A lot of these guys, I mean, most, I would argue most dudes are. I think Manic talked
Yeah.
about that these, you know, more and more of these dudes, I don't know if it's the program, you know, we don't know if it's nature or nurture, but Manic, what do you think about that as more of these guys are going into these kind of relationships?
Dude, it's sad because like a lot of dudes just become completely, you know, watered down, cucked. They change physically. Or like once they're in a relationship, like give it like 6 months, and they're just not the same people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just cucks, and they're subservient.
It's crazy because my sister's been married for almost 20 years. And her husband have stayed in shape. He is 17 years older than her. They both have stayed in shape and they both have done everything they could possibly do to keep that part of the relationship sacred. The other part of that is they don't do social media. There isn't this abundance of temptation for them because they offer each other so much individually that there's no time to look anywhere else.
Yeah, social media is definitely a big factor, I'd say, to it. And, you know, in my age group, your son's age group, we basically grown up with it.
Yep.
And yeah, you know, when I was a bit younger, it wasn't as bad, right? It was
Right.
especially when it comes to like content moderation. Like it wasn't completely censorious, but now it's just garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
And there's so many options. It's like I tell people all the time, it's like walking into the gas station and you got 20 different flavors of Coke now, where before it was just you had like one or two Coke and Diet Coke. And now you got Coke vanilla, Coke this, Coke cherry, Coke. And it's just like every day you can pick a different flavor, really. And social media has really brought that out 10 times more. My grandparents talk about that. They're about to hit their 70th wedding anniversary. And they say the death of all relationships. My grandpa's very adamant about this, Drex, and you will love this. The death of relationships is social media, internet, and the Me Too movement. It is a complete death of every relationship.
I believe it is. I believe that's the trifecta. I believe that's what collapsed relationships permanently.
Yep. He was like, that Me Too movement. He was like, and he's like, I'm not a sexist, but your grandmother cooked for me. She ironed my underwear. She did this. She did that. And women just don't do that because I'm a woman. Hear me roar. I'm so independent. But at the end of the day, you're missing out on the basics of a relationship because let's be real. Men are a certain way and women are a certain way. What men are really good at, women are not so good at. What women are really good at, men are not so good at. So you need that dynamic of the two to really have a great relationship. And that's the problem we're having is, as my grandpa says, these women are trying to be men these days.
Yeah.
Like,
well, hell, and now the dudes are trying to be females, which has gotten us into even more problems. I mean, these dudes don't know what they want to be anymore. But J-Love, we appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely go ahead and have you on yet again. But man, yeah, it's always great to hear from the woman's perspective because I mean, shit, you know, they're gonna see, like I said, different angles. You know, I've made comments about a lot of these modern dudes because a lot of these channels want to say women are, you know, making all the problems. But I said a lot of these dudes are on some weirdo shit, man. Dude, like I said, you can't be a down low dude and say women ain't shit. You see what I'm saying? I just can't respect that. I mean, dudes asking to.
Yeah, or a dude that wants to be in a relationship and has 15, 16 women like just sitting there and he doesn't have to do anything. I mean, there's just so many dynamics to it.
Yeah, there has to be, like I said, there has to be a balance. I believe it's irreparable. You know, I believe what your grandfather believes, which is it's over. you know.
Yep.
But I like hearing from other people who come from different perspectives, because some people say, oh no, Drex, there's a chance because of this, or there's that, there's marriage, and I know somebody. So it's nice to hear those perspectives, but we appreciate you coming on. So J Love,
Yes.
our girl, we will definitely talk to you later.
Sounds good. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good
All
night.
right. Peace out.
Have a good one.
Bye.
And then
You-
last, we
You
got
just
our-
remind
oh, what's
you
that?
just reminded me of like the forced feminization trend.
Mhm.
Like you know that where it's like, oh yeah, like painting boyfriend's nails or whatever. It's like,
But you know
it's
what I believe,
disgusting.
though? I think all of this is a good thing, to be honest with you. And do you know why? All of this is a shit test, right? If you're a certain type of dude, there are certain dudes that you do know that they would be the same no matter what era you put them in history, right? You can put them in any era and they're always going to be who they are, right? The sheep
Okay.
are the people who will conform to whatever societal norms and the zeitgeist is of that era. You see what I'm saying? So if you put them in a different era, well, I guess I'm a farmer. If you put them into this era, well, I guess I'm just a trans non-binary person. You see what I'm saying? Whatever the era is, that's what they're gonna be. Do you know there are certain people, no matter what era you put them in, they're like, I'm here to fucking conquer shit. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to be fucking like average. I'm here to be doing some other shit. So I just think that the guys that you see doing the nail painting and all this other stuff, and they're getting pegged, right? They're saying Yas Queen. I just believe those are the kind of guys that they would have. Like, remember, they would have been simps in the old days. They might not even gotten marriage or kids. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of guys back then, they were just war fodder, right?
Yeah.
Most men weren't having kids back in the day, only 40%. So we'll definitely get Whiplash in to see his perspective. So we'll bring in Whip.
Hey, I'm back too.
Oh, what up?
What up?
Whip. Now, this is what's crazy, man. There are people out there, they got all kinds of comments and beliefs and everything. Whip, you are coming from a perspective of the son.
Oh yeah.
Right? You're the son perspective, because you have your father unfortunately passed, and then of course that makes your mom a widow. And what do you believe, Whip, is like the fate of the widow / older woman / single mom, from the kid's perspective, right? Because you're seeing, how are older women acting, right? How are single moms acting? How are widows acting? How are they acting from the son's perspective?
Well, that's all right. Let's go. All right. So, my dad will be gone a full year in 2 more weeks. All right. Now, throughout this past whole year, I have gotten nothing but cut out, mocked, laughed at, disrespected, told my father would be ashamed of me after I chose to put off registering for school to help her repair the house. Because if these repairs aren't done, that house is going to fucking collapse in like 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing that nonstop, right? I've been getting it good, all right? Well, as you may can see, this is my new pad.
Yep.
Because I moved out.
That's right.
Because I couldn't take it anymore. And you know what? This is the happiest time in my life, ironically as such. It's great. It's God tier.
Oh, I know
got
it is.
internet ordered. It's coming in Saturday. So that's going to be
Nice.
God tier. But anyways, back to my mom. So for those who may not know, that might be new to the show, just 8 months after my dad passed away, I caught my mom on a dating site, of course. And then she let it slip she'd been on there for 2 months. So she waited 6 months to start monkey branching, right? Now, that's when shit started getting real fucking bad, right? With how she was treating me. And not just me either. She's like, all our longtime friends are absolutely appalled at her. And like about half of them have like quietly withdrawn their relationship from her, and she's just too stupid to notice.
Unsurprising.
Well, I just moved out about well, I moved out on the 4th.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
ironic.
yeah, very, very ironic, right? Very poetic.
Poetic as fuck, dude. And so, you know, I've been out for a few days now, and just before I left, right, she had to let me meet the new boy toy, right? This dude ain't right. He is squirrely as fuck. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, my dad had a coworker that everybody called Sparky. Some also called him Eeyore.
What? Oh shit! Like
Because
from
of
Winnie
his
the Pooh?
disposition, right?
Oh no!
Fucking
No.
Eeyore. This boy toy resembles a slightly more competent version of that dude. So,
That's beyond disturbing.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Unironically.
Now I gotta ask you this though, Whip. Did you, now that you have like all this red pill knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Did you find it kind of funny? Like I'm sure you were kind of chuckling because you've seen enough red pill content to know guys have talked about SMV, right? Like when these women get divorced and stuff,
Oh,
the kinds of guys that they can get plummets dramatically, right?
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was about to go into that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great segue, dude. Okay, so this dude both exudes like crazy cat lady energy and cuck energy, right?
Yeah.
Now, I told you this, but I don't think the viewers know this. Get a load of this shit, y'all. So this dude is divorced. He's been so for a decade. And the reason he's divorced is because he caught his wife cheating not once. Oh, shit. Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. No. 9 times. 9 of them. 9 different affairs that he knows of. And she was saying shit about how there might have been more. How does he know?
This is
some shit
a
he
true
divulged to my
cuck.
mother. Now, here's the funniest part. My mom tried to get my approval for it,
Mhm.
which I thought was 1, sickening, and 2, hilarious. And she asked me if I would respect this dude.
Oh, come on.
And I laughed in her face. And I told her, and as I started laughing, I stopped myself because I didn't want to deal with her shit at the time, and I realized I might be. So then I kind of played it off, sort of. But like I asked her straight up, "Wait, are you serious?" And she was like, "Yes." Why? Why are you serious? It's insane. That the weekend that I moved out, she surprised me with him, hence all the meeting, right? And at church, she was parading this dude around, acting like she was literally high. Like, have you ever been around a stoner, Drex?
Yep.
She was acting like that. Is that not disturbing?
It's not disturbing. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's predictable. Because what she said to you is proof positive that she's very self-aware. She knows that this is all she can get. She needs to trick herself into believing that she got a catch, right? Someone wants her, right? That alone is something. Someone wants her, right? The only guy that she can get is a guy who's a beta cuck simp mangina who got cheated on 9 times at least. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No real man, like no real man would settle for your mom. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
it just wouldn't happen.
Fuck no.
They just wouldn't. Like a high value man would look at her like, why? You see what I'm saying?
Dude, what self-respecting man wants to marry she was born in 63 in
So
March.
just shy of 60.
Yeah, just shy of 60, right? What self-respecting man wants a 60-year-old Karen with 2 grown sons?
No one.
No
None.
one.
Now, it's funny you say that though, right? Because one of the things that I kind of like about hearing from the younger guys, right, is that like you have this red pill knowledge, right?
Mhm.
And with this red pill knowledge that's accessible to you, right? And how do you use it in terms of if you ever decide if or when you want to, do the dating thing?
Hey, Drexel, you know how I talked about how I'd probably go for a unicorn?
Mm-hmm.
I'm debating now because I have my own place, I'm independent, and I'm making money. In fact, I just got my first paycheck today.
Doesn't it change shit? Right?
This
Like,
changes, dude.
it changes
okay. I want nothing. If I could buy this, because I'm in a duplex, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I could, so my uncle put me up in this, right? Because I'm working for him, in, basically the housing market, right? If I could make enough money to buy this duplex from him, and then connect the 2 halves together and trick it out,
Yep.
I would do that, and I'd never move anywhere else.
Yeah. Or you could rent out the other half and let that pay for yours.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Dude, this is all I want. It's all I want. I'm about to have high-speed internet, right?
Mhm.
For pretty cheap, right? I'm going to be making money. My uncle is teaching me how to do handyman work. As he's paying me to do it, he's giving me the genuine time of day. He's giving me all the safety net I could ever want, and maybe some more. And if I just don't fuck up, I'm set for life. Oh, fuck.
You're over here dropping shit. Now, Whip, this is what's great
Sorry.
though, is that we talked to Cooper earlier, and he talks about how you get he was getting the shame from, like, I think it was his brother, or whatever. Give us like the Virgin Diaries, because like I said, like none of that matters anymore. There was a time when like dudes were shamed. Guys are like, I haven't heard one, like I said, real man shame someone for being a virgin in the current year. That was like, dude, there ain't nothing out there for you.
Dude, you know the funny thing is, now that you mention that, at worst, the response is neutral. No one cares.
No one cares.
No one. And at best, they actually congratulate and respect you for not having a body count.
Yeah, like don't enter the cesspool out here, man.
And here's the thing too that's craziest about that. This was unheard of just a few years ago.
Yep.
Unheard of. Like, you don't want to die a virgin, do you?
Yeah, I think 5 to 10 years ago, especially 10 years ago, I think that's somebody would have said.
Dude,
2012, they would have said that. Now, I think that's how much it's changed.
Dude, I'm 23. I'm about to be 24 in a couple months, right? If I was 14, dude, you didn't let anyone know you were a virgin.
Yep.
You did not. You either slayed and you kept it moving, or you didn't and you kept your trap shut, and that was it.
Yep.
And if somebody found out, oh, he's a virgin, like, that's what you'd get. You'd get ridiculed repeatedly. Right? Now, make no mistake. Like, if getting called a virgin is the worst thing that happens to you, you're doing good. But, like, still, the point is, people would make fun of you for it. And now it's the polar opposite. Like, it couldn't be further from the case today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, as the last time I remember getting, like, virgin shamed, let's call it, it would have been in high school in 2018.
Yeah, fair.
But thing is, like, I Like, it's not like I was like, shoving how like, pure I am down people's throat. But when the health teacher asked, "Are you having sex before marriage?" And then this was in front of the entire class, by the way. Like we it was only me that stood up and one other
Damn.
guy, but he was lying. He was 100% lying.
Oh,
But I was being truthful.
I think that's hilarious because it kind of goes to show how relationships have changed over time. And Whip, here's the thing. What do you think about the fact that there's a desperation out there for women to get in relationships, right? What do you think about that?
It's so funny. There's an uncanny cognitive dissonance I see with it, because it's like, wait, so hold on. You're strong, independent, all the rest of it, and, gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, and all that bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you're fucking miserable.
Miserable.
Because dude wants to deal with your fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
Not a one of them. And they're just like, I mean, it's hilarious because they can't connect this dot. And it's like, you realize bitches like you are the reason Thoughts Posting L's is a Twitter account now.
Oh yeah, and it's very real. And I want to ask you about this though, Whip. What do you think about, like, as you like, this was great. I think relationships, one of the main reasons why they've collapsed is because as guys are like getting their shit together, right? Because men don't need women. Women are a luxury for men. They're a necessity for women and a luxury for men. As you got your shit together, you're kind of like in your like little, your peaceful space, right? You're like, I'm fucking good. Life is good. You're kind of like looking around like life is good. What do you think this says about when it comes to the standards of men in modern dating? Now that you got your own shit, right? You don't need her. How does that change your standards, right? You're making money. You're doing good.
Well, I can tell you this right now. If she doesn't cook better than me, if she doesn't like help me out and actually add value that's tangible, not this love and cherish empty word bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't do that, oh, dude, I'm smashing, and then your ass is out the door.
Yeah, I mean, because the value has gone out of the relationship. Now, I want to ask you this, and we'll get you out of here. Whip, being a young man, seeing older men, seeing guys like your brother, what is the thing about relationships that you've learned by being, like I said, on the outside, right? The virgin, you weren't even doing the pump and dump. You've been on the outside. What is it that what's been the biggest lesson you've learned be on the outside of being into relationships?
The absolute biggest thing I ever learned was get control of my hormones and my anatomy, if you will. Because, point blank, my brother is in the relationship he's in. He's in this marriage because he wanted to fuck. Like, like that's why. Their excuse for getting married without either one of them having a job or qualifications to get a job so that they could take care of themselves, their excuse for this was, we didn't want to sin, so we had to get married. We just had to.
Mm-hmm.
We just had to. Oh, by the way, speaking of relationships, I won't get into all the details, but you remember the story I DM'd you of today earlier, right?
Yeah, that was pure fuckery.
Yeah, pure fuckery. So this might be an even bigger red pill to me than my brother's relationship, and it's because of the age of the people within said fuckery. So, for those that don't know, one of my other jobs that I was going to be working on for my uncle was I was going to be my grandfather's, on my dad's side, I was going to be his caretaker for probably the foreseeable future. There would have been a change in that. Not quite sure, but it was supposed to start today, and everything was going fine when we got there, up until the help walked in, if you will. Well, my grandfather's in the early stages of dementia, and he's 82, and she is in her, I believe, mid-70s. I may be off a couple years, give or take. But the bottom line is, this bitch is old. And she was an assistant caretaker. And we found video evidence of her committing elder abuse. And she's been completely manipulating him and taking advantage of him. And she told him that my uncle, as well as I, were planning to put him in a nursing home and commit fraud, as well as lock him out of all of his accounts and resources. She was telling him all of this shit. And then she called her daughter to come get herself and my grandfather out of there because they needed to leave, and she refused to admit where they were going. And a big fight escalated, and then she wound up calling the cops. And this is the most ironic part. They didn't believe her for a fraction of a second.
Of course
And
not.
they took our side. Now, how often does this happen? Very rarely, if ever. Keep in mind, this is a fluke. Cops aren't your friends. But I say all that to say this. If a woman in her 70s is out here gaslighting and telling outright lies to a man in order to sap his resources and take advantage of him and do some of the biggest fuckery on earth, if a woman in her 70s is willing to do that, what is a modern woman willing to do to you?
Manic knows. Manic knows how bad it is. You know, I mean, he's told us. I mean, do you have any last words for the people out there who are, like I said, young guys like you, who are, you know, stacking their green, doing the, you know, line of Migtown? Shout out to our man, line of Migtown.
Oh, I love
who are
that
stacking
dude.
green, doing their thing, giving these hoes nothing.
That's right.
What is it that you see in the future of relationships for the young guys? I mean, you and guys like Manic, I was like talking to young guys because like I said, I'm in that period where, like I said, anything you could have experienced, I already did it, right? Because I was your age once, right? So I remember what it's like to be in my early 20s, mid 20s and stuff. I had a kid at 27, right? So you end up going
your
through all of
daughter's
this.
older than I thought she was then.
Yeah. So I was, 27 and a half, technically. I was going on 28.
Okay.
So by the time you have a kid, right, you kind of like look back and you think to yourself, man, when I was young, what things would I have changed? And you remember, all of this content wasn't around. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
This shit wasn't there.
Like
You had to learn it. Like, yeah, people gave you some like red pill knowledge. You got bits and pieces, right? But it was never consolidated. Now, guys like you and Manic, young bucks have this consolidated wisdom. And how do you see that going forward in terms of like if and when you ever want to be in a relationship?
Oh, dude, like we were saying earlier, man. Dude, fuck marriage, dude. There's no reason to do it anymore. None at all. And here's the other thing too, right? For the guys out there in a similar position to me, in case you want your unicorn, that's fine. But if you're young like me and you're even thinking about it, I want you to do a couple things for me. I want you to move out. I want you to get a job. And I want you to spend the next 2 to 5 years just working and stacking your green, and then come back and ask yourself, do I do I really need to be in a relationship? Do I really need it? Just do that.
Mhm.
Don't even worry about it. Because here's the thing. First and foremost, your value is self-created. All right? You need to self-actualize and realize that, hey, look, marriage, relationships, they mean nothing to your value. You know what makes up your value? Your work ethic and your character. If you got those in order and you're taking care of your responsibilities and you can do what you want, you have success, period. And anybody who tells you otherwise is a hater. You know why? Because they wish they wish they had what you do.
Mhm.
They're angry at you for it and they're jealous.
Of course they are.
So just do that for yourself, man. And here's the thing. If you find your unicorn, I will even say this to add on to that. If you find your unicorn, there's nothing wrong with going for that. However, I would advise this. Move to a state that doesn't have common law, and then if you're really concerned about it, right? If you want to quote have a marriage, fine, but don't move to a state where there's common law and don't put it on paper. There's no reason why the government needs to know who you're married to. They don't need to. Just do you. Because at this point, there's no excuse if you're getting divorce raped. None.
I agree. Yeah, there's too much information out there now. It's something I've told Manic and guys like Undead Chronic in the past. You can't say you didn't know in the current year, and I think that's one of the most important things because
exactly, the mask has completely slipped.
Yeah. The TikTok videos, Manic knows the twerking, all
twerking
the
senators.
Yeah,
Drex, did you see the photo where they put the twerking senator in place of the Washington Monument?
Yeah, I saw that with Biden there and Jill or whatever. Like it's gotten to that point, man. Whip, thanks for coming on because
thanks for having me, man.
All of these different spectrums, everybody is going to represent different angles, right? You have a single bachelor guy who's out there doing pump and dump. We got the purveyor of the dollhouse. We got a guy who's got the doll, younger guy. We got, from the woman's perspective, J Love. There's so many different perspectives to get. And what you're starting to realize that when you consolidate all this information, the question is, where were relationships before? Where are they at now? And where are they going? I think we all can agree. We have a picture in our head now that we can all agree. Whip, it's all but done.
Dude,
it's that close.
About the collapse of relationships, I genuinely believe at this point is going to happen. Especially
monetization, the overwhelming amount of choices, all that.
Bro, it's going to be Demolition Man out here.
Oh, absolutely. There's
no way it's not, dude.
It's inevitable, and that's why I like talking to the young guys because they are giving you an insight. Like if a guy like me were talking when I was, let's say, 18, right? I would have been like, yeah, there's some bad girls, some good girls, right? Some in between.
That's literally what I thought when I was in my early teens.
Yeah, I would have been fair. Like I would have been like, yeah. There's lots of there's lots of bad ones, but there's lots of good ones too. I would have been like much more balanced. Mm-hmm. Here we are, all these years later, 20 years later, and I'm like, bro, it's over,
dude.
I see what the young girls are wearing. I see what young girls are wearing, what young girls are doing. I'm thinking like, so this is the pool that like these young men like Manic, you, Cooper are supposed to choose from. Oh no, it's over. Dude, they're on OnlyFans. They're
want
on
to know some fuckery we found last night? Dealing with the same broad that I was talking about today, with regard to my grandfather. Guess what we found?
Uh-oh.
This is what this bitch did. My grandfather lost his wife just a few months ago. So, and he's 80, so like he's 82. I mean, so like I do feel bad for him because like he really was married to like a genuinely good woman, right? So I do feel bad for him. But guess what this bitch did? She removed the pictures of his dead wife from his nightstand. And then you want to know what she did? Keep in mind, mid-70s for her, early 80s for him. She put a picture of herself on the nightstand in place of the other one.
Oh, that's
And
cold.
guess what she was wearing, Drexel? A
No.
Marilyn Monroe outfit.
Of course.
At her age?
No, it was from earlier.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, oh yeah, so an old thought pick.
Yeah, an old thought pick.
That's gonna end the episode. These bitches ain't shit. No,
And
these bitches
we're
ain't
out.
shit.
Right.
All right. Well,
Oh,
thank you
my
very much,
goodness.
Manic, for filling in as always. Always
You're
a
welcome.
great resource for me.
I'll get my PayPal fixed soon so you can pay me.
Nice.
Perfect. Drex, the final. I don't know if we need a final thought. That was the final thought.
I mean, that's fine. It doesn't get much worse than that. It doesn't get much worse than the fact that, I mean, you have old hoes out here wishing they were still young hoes to manipulate and use an old man. Fuck it. These bitches ain't shit, man. Stay toxic,
They
please.
aren't.
Fuck
They
that.
ain't.
Stay frosty,
Exactly.
everyone.
Thanks for having me on again, Drexel. It was great talking to you as always.
Always.
Okay,
And,
hey, Drex,
uh,
hang out for a bit. I just want to figure out the schedule with you.
Oh yeah, well, we're gonna record tomorrow. That's gonna be the tomorrow's episode is gonna be a group episode in honor. Manic, you'll love this. Tomorrow, because I'm technically a week behind, but the bonus episode is gonna be in honor of The Purge. Right? I was on Nick's show and I was on Andrew's show, and there are some bitch-made people who are on these shows who are in the comment sections like, I don't like this language and blah blah. So we're gonna have
that purge. Yes.
yeah.
Oh, by
Yeah,
the way,
so-
we got a 365 subscriber bump after
Look at
you went
that.
on Nick's show.
Look at that. This is going to be I'm going to make a toxic show. So we're going to have guys be their most toxic selves with their most toxic shit, whatever degeneracy they can think of.
Are we inviting Nick? Is Nick
I
going to
mean,
come on?
I don't know if Nick will be able to because his schedule is shit.
Yeah.
His schedule is complete dog shit. But you will see. Like I said, I'm going to make sure everybody in the chat knows. And here's the reason why. Manic, aren't you kind of just getting tired of all of this like censorship and everything? I want guys to, like I said, I love toxic streams where guys can talk about like just real shit, like men used to. Like I said, I think locker room talk should be the only talk.
Yeah.
If you say this bitch ain't shit, then just say that. Don't be like, well, I have to try to. No, this bitches ain't shit.
And bonus episodes don't go on YouTube.
Yeah, fuck it.
No Susan.
Yeah, that's what tomorrow will be. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do.
Yeah,
a call
I'll
in.
make sure I set aside. I'm not working tomorrow, so I'm not going to be as tired. Drex, you know that moment when the Percocets kick in?
Yeah, I got to take this shit.
Oh,
take
is
this
that an
fucking-
antihistamine?
No, it's the music. What the fuck is? Hold on. I slammed this thing down and like the shit started like leaking out of the fucking side.
Oh,
No, so Mucinex, I got sick while I was running around with all those damn kids.
of course.
And so I've been fucking battling. That's why like yesterday I felt terrible, man. Like since Monday. So I was like, I had to like fucking get healthy again. So I'm down in all these damn Mucinex and everything to fucking get well again. So I'm fine. This is the first day I'm able to speak without. I don't know if you saw I was on Andrew's show. I was sitting there blowing my nose. All these fucking tissues. Dude, I felt terrible. So this is like the first day I haven't felt like garbage. So we'll definitely have to reach out to RPM because of course he's got HMT, which is as toxic as it gets. We'll definitely reach out to everybody because like I said, I want tomorrow to be toxic as fuck.
Oh,
I mean, that's just the
TFM.
thing. Oh yeah, TFM, yeah, toxic AF. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sick and tired of everybody always like self-censoring. No, fuck that, man. Look, man.
What
every
time do
time
you
I
think
watch
you're rolling
porn,
then?
It could be earlier. 'Cause
Earlier?
I'll be-
Yeah, I just got to give RPM a time because I know RPM works and he's in the Pacific, right?
It won't matter. It won't
Cali.
matter. I'd say maybe like tonight, 8:00 is probably good. So
Okay.
like 8:00.
I'll let him know, see
Central.
if he can stop in towards the back end.
All right. Well, I'm about to get
Get
off here
that
so I can
butt.
eat something. Get that butt. Hey, man, I know you saw that Rico Reckless video, man.
Rico Reckless?
Oh, he doesn't know. Oh, we got to show Drex. We can't not
Let
show
me-
him.
Let me
Here,
see
let me
this
find
shit,
it.
man.
Yeah, just put a link in the chat here.
Yeah, hold on.
All right.
The tape is still rolling. I'm gonna record this.
Okay.
Man, it's bad, man. They're doing dudes real dirty out here, man. Hold on. I got a guy. Let me find him.
Yeah, well, you do
I
that.
got
I'm
a
going to
guy.
message RPM right now and see if he's available tomorrow night.
Get that butt!
No.
Manic,
look,
do
man,
not
Manic,
serve
that's
time in Cook
that's that
County
savage
Jail.
life. That's that savage life, Manic.
Wait, where's Cook County again?
That's in
Yeah,
Chicago.
Chicago.
Okay, that's what
Bro,
I
it's
figured.
no fucking joke, man. Bro, it is, dude. Look, Clark County is out in Vegas. Look, I'll take Vegas over fucking Cook. Dude, you
Show
want
that
to
shit
be with
to
these
Chronic.
savages? These savages in Chicago, man. Dude, it is no fucking joke, man.
Chronic puts you through the worst. He makes you look at the worst
poor Manic.
stuff. Hey,
Poor Manic.
Drex, Chronic, he got a little too high on himself. You know, he said, if there's 1,000 people watching my stream, I will start a Pornhub account to review OnlyFans videos.
Oh shit.
Oh, I actually
guess what
forgot-
I did? I went into all our Discords and I said, "Hey guys, go watch Manic or go watch Chronic's live stream." And I see the number like 800, 850, 900, 950. I'm like, "Ooh, yeah." And he gets 1,000. He's like, "Oh shit." Well, I'll make Manic do it.
Oh man, they're doing you
no,
dirty.
we're supposed to do it together.
I can't wait for Chronic's OnlyFans review videos.
Oh shit.
I actually forgot we were doing that.
Damn.
yeah, Chronic always gives them the worst assignments.
Look, Manic, as long as you ain't gonna end up living that savage life, man, everything is good with me, man.
Don't you hit that ground.
Look, man, I don't want to see you get your butt took, man. I don't want to see you get your cheeks took, man. Man,
Drex,
you're
that's
a
our
good
official outro now. Every time
Get
we end the
that
show,
butt.
we gotta go get that butt.
dude. Man, it is savage out here, man. Shit.
You
But yeah,
know
man,
how-
thanks for coming in, though. Shit.
All right. I think Yeetus is streaming right now. So, guys, if you're watching, I think Yeetus is streaming right now if you want something to watch next. And yeah, I just sent a message to RPM. We'll see if he gets back to me in time. I'll email TFM. It's kind of late notice for him, though. He usually needs a day or two.
Perfect. Yeah, don't forget to show the war band, man. Let your
real.
boy Yeetus know. Hey, man, Cook County Jail, man. Whatever you stay out the fucking trenches, man. Dudes are getting took.
Hey, Drex, send me through Discord that link too. I'll give it to Yeetus.
Oh
He
yeah.
needs to see that.
I mean,
He
I
might
mean,
already know about it, but I think he needs to see it.
I could just give it to Yeetus, you know.
Yeah, just
I don't know. He doesn't have Twitter, so it might be weird.
I'll just super chat it to him. I've got mod on his channel. But anyways, Drex, thanks for doing this for me. So I'll get this edited and put out as soon as I can. Like I said, I'm not
Yeah,
working
we'll be right
tomorrow,
back
so I've got all
tomorrow.
day.
Yeah, we'll be right back tomorrow. Like I said, I'll come back in at 8:00 and we'll go ahead and hit this goddamn savage live stream. Fucking, we're gonna get real toxic. And I mean, look, it's one of them days though, man. You know, asses gotta get spit in, man. It is what it is, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Normies gotta get outlined.
Do you know how
right.
Chronic made me watch Buck Breaking?
Oh, well, you know, though,
I
hold on.
forgot.
Is Buck Breaking worse than Love and Leashes though?
Wait, what?
Oh man, you gotta go watch that Love and Leashes. Okay, so if Chronic made you watch Buck Breaking, then you got to make Chronic watch Love and Leashes.
Was it better or worse than watching Jack Murphy insert plastic into his ass?
No,
Oh,
okay.
look at Coop, but Manic don't.
No, I'll genuinely say it's like I was surprised about how not I wouldn't say good, but it's so bad it's good.
Oh yeah, well, an awesomely bad movie is always. Here's the thing. I've always said this: when it comes to movies, you want entertainment value, right?
Yeah.
So if you had a good time, even if the movies like like I said, the good bad movies, right? You still had a good time. What you don't want is a bad movie, right? When something's just bad and there's no entertainment, but you can't even like laugh at it. Yeah, that's terrible. But I'm about to get off here so I can finally eat something that I haven't eaten since 3:00.
All right, on to 3, guys. We'll end with get that butt. 1, 2, 3. Get that butt.
Get that butt.
Goodbye, everyone.